Friends, welcome in. It is Thursday, April 4th. We are actually live today. I know I promised you this was going to be a pre-recorded show, but it is not. It is live. I am here. My plans had changed for today, so I thought, hey, might as well come in live. I had the other project in mind that I was going to share with you today, but this is more fun. I actually have somebody with me today. We're going to talk a lot about the media and the media bias and answer the question. I think the question that a lot of us have is, what can I do? What's my role? A lot of you ask that question. I hear it again and again and again. We're going to give you something today that you can do that actually will start to make an impact and really turn the tide on everything that's been going on. We seem to be going in this direction. Maybe that's not the ideal direction for us, as we know. We want to turn the tide. We want things to change. And one of the big hammers that is out there is mainstream media, right? They have a lot of power. I'll give you an idea. I was in college back, I think it was 87, 88. I was in college. I was taking a mass media course. And one thing that stuck out, the course was awful, except for one thing. The teacher said this: if you ever want to take over a country, you want to take it over, you want to run the country, what you need to do is take over the media. That's how powerful it is. The media controls everything. If you own the media, you control the narrative. You can shape the way people think, the way they react, right? And the way they respond. You can change messaging, and we see that happening like crazy in our society today. How they're doing that? They're changing the words. They're changing the meaning of words, right? And we're looking at things going, this doesn't make any sense anymore. Well, you're kind of right about that. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So the media is a big problem. It is the way it's being used is that. So I have a guest here today who has dedicated his life at this point to really defeating the media bias and stopping the media bias. And one way he's doing that is by helping to defund the media. Interesting idea. Interesting concept. So I'm going to bring him on in just a minute, but before I do, I just want to remind you to go visit screwbiggov.com if you haven't been there. Make a point of going there. That is Lewis's website, and you'll find a lot of goodies there, including this news program, links directly to it. Cages, his documentary, freedominaction.net, which is going to become a more important website as we go forward, including rememberyouroath.com. And there's a swag button there if you want to dress in the Screw Big Gov colors. I think I would highly suggest having a look at that. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. And if you want to find Lewis online, sometimes a little bit hard to find him on social media, a lot of spoof accounts. Actually, I was talking to Lewis this morning about that, and we have some plans going forward. But for right now, just click on that social media link, and you'll be linked directly to his websites. Also, if you want to follow me on Telegram at Renegade Media. And look for Renegade Media, or just email me, robert@renegademedia.tv. I love to hear your comments, love to know what you're thinking. It really makes a big difference in terms of what we're doing. And your feedback makes this show a better show. All right, let me bring on my special guest today. Steve Yanke's with us. Steve, how are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Fantastic. So
Oh,
honored to be here. Thank you so much, Robert.
I love someone who comes on and says, I'm doing fantastic, because in these times, that's not necessarily what you hear, right?
That's true.
So Steve and I had a chat earlier this morning. It was interesting because he and I had actually chatted in the Screw Big Gov chat room. Stop Media Bias Now is his name. You've probably seen him in there. And apparently some of the admins have kicked him out. So we'll get that corrected if that happens. Sometimes, they do a really great job. We love our admins. Sometimes yeah, they really are great. So we appreciate them and the hard work that they do. They are, and they do a great job. They keep that chat room really clean, and it's important to do that and make it a safe and fun place for all of us.
Yeah.
So, Steve, really good to finally meet you. Lewis has told me a lot about you, and he mentioned, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, how you and he may be partnering up going forward with some of the work you're doing, some of the work he's doing. It sounds to me, kind of like a match made in heaven, if you will. So it's kind of nice to see that.
Lewis, he was all about action. And it seems I've watched a couple of you guys' videos, and you are all about action. giving people a way to fight back in this war. And
Right.
we all know now that we are at war, and ideological and spiritual war for the very heart and soul of America.
Well,
And
you hit it on the head. You said it. I mean, it is
they
primarily, if you look at it, it is not a kinetic war yet. It is definitely an information war, a psyop war, if you will, trying to program people, trying to get them to think a certain way. And we always mention
exactly.
people are indoctrinated. They are. Well, how are they
hmm
getting indoctrinated, Steve? Come on, tell me. How are they getting
Well,
indoctrinated?
they're
It's
doing it
the,
through the mainstream
there
media.
you go. Yep.
The I kind of view there's a bunch of battlefields in this war, including abortion rights,
Right.
gay marriage, the border, Second Amendment rights. All these things are they're battlefields, and the left is very organized in their attacks on each of these fields. Well, I believe that the first field to drop was the mainstream media.
Right.
And the reason it was the first one to drop was because they are so crucial in controlling the American narrative. And if we want to make America great again, we have to fight back in all of these battlefields. So if there's an area that you have an expertise on, you need to get involved and get into the fight and do what you can for America in those fields.
Right.
But the one big field is the mainstream media, and because it is the weapon that they're using to to you know, provide cover file or a cover for all the other battlefield. So it's kind of like,
There was not one word that she could deviate from the script or they'd fire her.
Mhm.
Right. So you look
Yeah,
at it and
well,
you say, okay, so
that's not what the media is supposed to do.
no, it's supposed to be what is it, the fifth estate? Is
Yeah,
that what they call it?
I kind of view them as the watchdog over power, and they're supposed to call power, truth to power, and keep them
Right.
honest. And they're no longer doing that. They're using bias by omission to ignore all bad things about liberal, progressive, communist
Explain that
stories.
bias by omission. That's a brilliant statement. Explain that a little bit.
Okay, well, bias by omission is there's several forms of bias. Individual bias. You can you can arrange your story in or your stories in a way to de-emphasize certain shows, and if you do that for political reasons, that's a bias in itself. We're
Mhm.
all biased. I'm biased, you're biased, we're all biased to a certain degree,
I
but
have no
bias
idea who
by
you're voting for in
omission
November.
is probably the most evil one that they can practice. And what
Right.
it is intentionally taking stories, let's be specific, all good stories about Donald Trump, and shelving them, not talking about him,
Never. Right. Hmm.
never talking about him,
I
while
think there was a survey.
simultaneously taking all bad stories about Hillary Clinton or Biden or Obama. It's been going on for a long, long time, and shelving those. So,
Right.
what you hear from the media is only the good stuff about the left and only the bad stuff about the right. And it's a confirmation bias for some individuals that want to hear that. All they ever hear is the bad things about Trump and the good things about whoever's in office, whoever their chosen one is.
Right.
Um,
The selected
but
one.
the thing is that bias by omission is robbing the people from the very valuable information that they need to make public decisions. If you don't hear the bad, you can't weigh that into your decisions.
Right.
And that's why they control the media. That is why it's the first step in taking over a country. And if we are going to move forward, all of our efforts will benefit by taking the media back, taking it back under our control.
Yeah.
And
It's very true.
so I've been doing this now for 10 years. As I It wasn't until I, it, you know, God works in strange ways. So he arranged for me to be unemployed and gave me a lot of time to think and meditate about this. And the more I meditated about it, the more, mad I got. And so I started trying to do something about it 10 years ago, long before Q came on board, long before the Great Awakening.
Tell us the name of the
I
first
was
website.
fighting. Say again.
Tell us the name of your very first website when you started this, because it's different than it is now.
It was called madashellboycott.com. And it was an homage to the that movie Network. I think was it Network with Faye Dunaway in it, and it had the crazy guy that the announcer that stood up and he goes, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore." And
Yeah. That part we remember. The rest of the movie, I don't know.
I don't remember the rest of the movie. You can find that movie clip if you just look for "mad as hell," um, and I'm not gonna take it anymore on YouTube. It's still there. So the whole idea was that we were going to take back the media, and the thought behind it was the same. And there's a couple common misconceptions that I'd like just to put to rest right now. The first is that they want us to think that there's nothing we can do about media bias. That is an absolute lie. It's false. There is stuff that we can do about media bias, and I'll give you the clues here in just a second. The second thing, which I think is more important, is that people believe that the media is funded by the companies that own them, like Disney and Black Rock or whatever the name of that holding company is, et cetera, et cetera. They aren't, while they are owned by those companies and those entities, they are not funded by those entities and those companies. Our goal is to make BlackRock and Disney pay for their own propaganda. And what we're doing at Stop Media Bias now is we are holding them accountable. It comes from the very fact that the media isn't funded by the owners. It is funded by the advertisers, and those advertisers are the ones that create a tremendous amount of money, even profits. So the profits are going out to BlackRock, so BlackRock can buy more companies and stuff like that. And the reality is they're getting funded by companies that we're buying products from.
So it's a
And
circle.
so it's a circle. When we buy products from those companies, they take their money, they fund our enemy's most powerful weapon, which is basically like bringing a baseball bat and bonking you on the head, handing you your taco, and saying, "Thank you very much, buy another taco from me, and I'll bonk you on the head again." So, since the start, my whole idea has been that we need to stop buying products from the companies that are funding the mainstream media. And it's as simple as that. Now, it's not
Tell
so
us, Steve.
simple if
Tell
you
us,
think about
Steve,
what
how.
I have to do in the background.
Yeah. Well, tell us
So,
about the because the left had been doing this, right? And they were able to get Bill O'Reilly removed. You mentioned that this morning, and it just
mhm,
took 2 weeks to
yeah.
do it. And it's a very powerful thing to do because when you remove the financing, there's no way these shows can continue. So tell us the Bill O'Reilly story.
Okay, so Bill O'Reilly did not lose his the O'Reilly factor by losing his viewers. He was more popular at the point of viewership when he lost the O'Reilly factor. Well, he lost it because he lost the advertisers, and those advertisers left Bill because they felt that being associated with Bill was bad for their brand. Now, the only reason advertisers run ads is to get us, to entice us to buy their products. All their shows, all their little ads are all there to get you to purchase their product. That's what they spend that money for. And they go out to all the programs. There's 24 hours a day of programming on ABC, NBC, and CBS where they choose where to put their ads. And
Hmm.
those programs, depending on how popular they are, get to charge more money per second for their ads. So, on average, the mainstream media gets about $60,000 for a 15-second ad.
Wow.
Yeah,
And we're
and
talking
and
national out here, not local.
yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if you look at our website, my website has the data on there. Um, for instance, in the last 2 weeks, 7 sponsors and 123 advertisers ran ads for 193 products. They ran a total of 602 ads, and that's just on the 5 days of the week.
Wow.
If they got their $60,000 per 15-second ad, they brought in $68,880,000 on
Steve, let
three
me interrupt you. Let me
programs.
interrupt you for 1 second. There's people saying they're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. How far is your mic from you? Can you bring it closer?
I can bring it closer.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll try to do that. Is that better?
It sounds a little better. We'll see how our audience feels about it. But I want to hear that
Okay.
number again. $68 million in 1 week?
$68 million in 2 weeks. For
In 2 weeks.
three companies, it's a little over $10 million per program for their half-hour segments per week.
Wow.
So that's the kind of money that they're bringing in. The companies that own them are not funding them. We are funding them through the purchase of the products.
See, this is something
So,
people don't understand. They don't know how the money flows, but it really is
right.
when these companies, if they're advertising, let's say they're advertising on whatever news program, and you go out and you buy that product, they know, okay, if I advertise on this news product, this news show, we're going to make more money. So they keep advertising, they keep funding that news program.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they run it around. So, for instance, like the Super Bowl gets insane money for their advertising because they know they have this huge audience, and those companies are putting their money, they're betting their advertising dollars that they're going to get a revenue. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know that they can specifically say, okay, all of our ads ran on ABC brought in so many dollars worth of business. It's all lumped together and put
Right.
together. So boycotting, which is there's a couple different boycotts that we've been doing. Most of us have stopped watching the news or boycotted watching the news.
I'm seeing that in the chat room. That's what they're saying. Steve, all we have to do is turn it off. Turn it off. That's certainly is one way of
Turning
doing
it
it.
off isn't enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've got a very, very good friend that quit buying products from all these companies years ago. Turning them off, let's just address the boycotting. They don't
Yeah.
know. They don't, once you've turned off the news program, they don't care. They're still looking at the people that are left on the news program to sell their products to. So if they still have enough people to entice these companies, the companies that are 123 different companies, to run ads on the news programs, even though none of us are watching it. I quit watching them 30 years ago.
Yep.
I just couldn't handle it even way back then. It was just that upsetting to me. So simple boycotts or stop turning off the TV and not watching them is not, it affects their bottom line just a little, because obviously they're not getting Super Bowl level viewership. So they can't charge $3 million for a 15-second ad. They have to charge $60,000 for a 15-second ad. And even though all of us have stopped watching, they don't care. They still have their viewers. They still have they're still able to put out their propaganda. And I think even on some level, they've baked in the loss of this bias. They've understood that there's going to be a loss, and that they're okay with it. They're okay with it. They're still making money. They're still making $10 million a week. So it's still bringing in money. They still have the viewers, and their ultimate goal is still to brainwash the people.
Right.
And they're still getting to do that. We're still funding it. So the next level, I have a good friend that stopped buying products. He even quit buying cable. He no longer buys cable. He gets all his stuff over the air. He quit buying products from Target and all these other companies, but he neglected to tell them that he stopped buying the products. These companies will never understand why they're losing their business unless we tell them.
Right.
So there's two parts to the website. The first part is just education. Here's the 123 advertisers. Here's the 193 products. Stay away from them. Don't buy these products. But even if all of us started doing that and their sales started dropping, they would never link they'd never draw a line between their loss of business and their advertising on ABC, NBC, and CBS Evening News. They just never would do that. They will draw every other line possible, but not that one. So there's two parts to what we have to do, or what I believe we have to do. And the first part is the most important part is telling them, writing them an email saying, hey, I'm not going to buy your products because you advertise on ABC, NBC, and CBS Evening News. And they're a propaganda agent for a communist state. I don't want my products. I don't want the profits from my purchases going towards that. And then you will get action. If they understand what it's it's almost like putting a kid in the corner of a room and giving him a timeout, but not telling him why. You put him in the go think about what you did. Yeah, they're going to think about everything else, but not what you did. If you tell them, you give them a chance to correct the action, and they will correct the action, and that's what we want. We want them to move their ads off the mainstream media
Mm-hmm.
because we're holding them accountable.
Now,
And
the
it
companies,
it's
like, I
just
went to your website and I had a look at some of these companies. Some of these companies are rather large. I mean, Pfizer being one of the bigger ones there, right?
yeah.
It's hard for some people to imagine, hey, I can't take my diabetes medicine, or I can't take my heart medicine, I can't take my whatever because it comes from Pfizer. How do I do that? How do I boycott that? It's not easy sometimes.
Yes, it is very hard. And for products that are life sustaining, I don't you can't do that. But you can. You can go to Pfizer and say, "I'm not happy with you. I'm looking for somebody else."
Right.
As soon as I find a suitable drug that will do the same thing, I'm gone. And this is the reason why. You can do that. And they will, you know, being an advertiser or being in marketing, that's the kind of customer feedback that you need.
Yeah.
Before you get a pink Cadillac, you want to know how many how many people are going to buy a pink
Yeah.
Cadillac. you know and it's kind of valuable information. If you're doing something wrong with the product, it can help them with their development and their advertising. You have to remember that even Pfizer, the reason they're advertising is to get us to use their products.
Correct.
Even then, I mean, that's um, the whole point of advertising is to get more customers.
Right.
And I can tell you that the second they figure out that advertising on ABC, NBC, and CBS is losing them customers, they're going to move their ads.
Yeah.
And when that happens, what happened to Bill O'Reilly may just happen to these big networks, network news programs, not the networks themselves,
I'll
not
make
the network.
mention that people don't recognize this, Steve, that one of the issues with paying for cable television, why it's so expensive. You say, well, I only watch one or two channels. I only watch Fox, or I only watch Newsmax, or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, why are you paying $150 to $200 a month or more for cable? Is because every channel that's on that feed is getting a piece of that. So you're paying for cable. You're actually paying for CNN. You're paying for MSNBC. You're paying for,
Yeah.
and people just like they freak out with it. It's like, no, 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 I don't want to pay for those. You are. They're making a part of it because the cable company is just collecting a distribution fee, and they're paying that back to the content provider, which is the network, right? So they're saying, hey, we can distribute this. Cable started many, 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 many years ago when people didn't have antennas on their house, or they were in locations where the television signal wouldn't reach them. So they literally put a tower on the nearest mountain and ran cables to people's houses,
Hmm.
and they charged them that distribution fee. And then the networks caught on to it and said, hey, we want a piece of that. And cable television today is all about that. It's a distribution network, and you're paying for every bit of it. I cut the cable back in 1995 and haven't gone back. And a lot of people I know are doing it now, but it's time,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I would cut mine except for running this website.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought I've got to have a feed. I've got to collect this data. So I working my entire life. These things while I was working, they they bothered me, but I didn't have time. No,
Right.
people don't have time. So uh, the good Lord graciously arranged an early retirement for me,
Hmm.
and which gave me time to look at this stuff and think about it and pray about it. And this is what you know God came up with. All glory goes to God. This is something that I believe I can do for the country that I love. And I know you don't have time. So what I do here behind the scenes at Stop Media Bias now is I record ABC, NBC, and CBS Evening News, the national ones with David Muir, Lester Holt, and Nora O'Donnell. They're half-hour segments, 5 days a week. I don't do
Right.
the weekends. I give myself the weekends off. So, and honestly, there's more more advertisers that come in on the weekends. I think their rates are different.
Yep.
So
They are
we
because the viewership's lower, so
I
you get different companies. Yeah.
record all of them. I
Hmm.
fast forward through all three of these things through the propaganda, and I watch the confounded advertisements, and I record them all, and I log them all, and I put them into the website, and the website displays them in order from the company or product that bought the most advertising time to the
Hmm.
least amount of advertising time. And to understand how advertising is sold, they sell it in 15-second increments.
Right.
So the smallest ad that you'll see is a 15-second ad. Then you'll see a 30-second, a 45-second, a 60-second, 75 seconds, 90 seconds, and even on occasion a 2-minute ad, 120 seconds of time. All of them are recorded. They're all put into a huge spreadsheet, and the data the last 2 weeks. I pull the last 2 weeks out, and I post the data on my website. So you can go to that website and see what products you need to avoid, and
As
which
best you
ones,
can. Yeah.
if you
Hmm.
can avoid them,
Yeah.
avoid them. If you can't avoid them, still tell them that there's two parts to the website. The first one is the boycotting of the products and companies. The second part is actually creating a little email. We populate an email for you, and you can send it from your site as a
Nice.
customer to them, uh, uh, complaining. And the simple content is, hey, I quit buying your products because you advertise on these stations, and I greatly appreciate it if you just move your advertising to any other time slot on ABC, NBC, and CBS, and I'll start buying your products again.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
All right, let's talk about products for just 1 minute. We'll take a quick little break here. Commercial break. Can you believe it? We're actually doing a commercial break, and that is my guy Thumper. I just want to tell you about Pets 24/7, Pet Club 24/7, how amazing their food is. And contrary to what Steve is saying, we want to support the companies that are doing the right thing. And Pet Club 24/7 certainly is one of those companies doing the right thing and really supporting our show. Really, we know the owners of the company, we know the people who founded it, and they're putting out an amazing product. Thumper was having some issues with his health, and we thought, 13 plus years old, maybe that's it for him. Maybe that's as far as this little guy goes. And then Lewis suggested, hey, why don't you try him on Pet Club 24/7? So I did. I signed up, and I got the food, the super sauce, and started feeding it to him. And he bounced back to life. He's like a kitten again, which is just kind of stunning because we were feeding him raw chicken liver in the morning and always the organic food. We go into the pet store, and the most expensive food on the shelf, that's the one we buy him. Always the top of the line. Still wasn't enough though, because obviously there were things he wasn't getting that he needed that were not in his diet. And now he's out there and he's hunting like crazy. I mean, I can't believe 3 gophers a day sometimes. One day he actually brought home 4 different gophers. Kind of crazy to think at his age that he's doing that. But it's really a fabulous product. And if you have pets of any kind, dogs, cats, even horses, certainly worth taking a look. The link is in the description of the show. And they have a link on their website for humans as well. Give you a little clue, the big C word. People are having miraculous results with their mushroom formula. So certainly well worth taking a look at. And you'll find, as I said, the link is in the description of the show and the channel that you're watching this on. All right, we'll continue with Steve now. Bring him back because let's go to the finale, Steve. Let's wind this up and in a way that, first of all, we want to know people can take action, so it's easy on your website. The emails
Very
are
simple.
preformed. You click on the button, the email populates. You're sending it from your email. How about things like social media, like reaching out on X.com for these companies?
Well, I, uh, I do have a Twitter a page.
Hmm.
It got me in so much trouble that they terminated my second account. My first account was terminated the very day, hour, and second that President Trump's was terminated.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and it was never given back to me, unlike many of the others. Small accounts like mine, I was shadow banned. I was heavily shadow banned. They do
I'm
not.
there too. I was shadow bad right at
Yeah.
the beginning
Oh,
of COVID. Yeah,
it's such an evil, evil
it is.
practice.
Yeah.
You think you're standing on level ground in a fair fight, and you're
Nope.
not.
Nope.
You just aren't. You're drowning in there. You don't stand a chance. When you're small, you don't stand a chance.
So a
So
person who has an X account or what used to be known as Twitter.
there is a Twitter page. I
Okay.
created Twitter tweets that said, basically the same thing. Shame on
Mhm.
you for advertising, for funding the mainstream media kind of thing. And, I'm not going to buy your products anymore.
Right.
Well, Twitter has, or X, I'm pretty sure X has the same thing. They can tell when you're, just pushing a button.
Right.
There's 193 of these tweets that you can create. And if you do more than 10 at a time, you're in Twitter jail. You're just automatically in Twitter jail.
Well, yeah, because it looks like
Um,
spam to
I
them, so they don't know. Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't even tweeting stuff and they closed me down. Um, I don't know that, I still support it. It's still on my website. So if I can find their tweet handle and that kind of stuff, it's there. So you can create it and use it. Um, I do not have any of the other ones supported. I'm not even sure that something automated like that was
Okay. Would you be
available.
open to having some volunteers step up and help you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So tell people who are watching, because I'm watching in the chat room, and there are a lot of people who are getting value out of this conversation. They really want. They ask the question, Steve, all the time. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? How can I help? How can I serve? Right. So you're doing something really good. You're doing it all on your own. It would be really nice to have some volunteers to come up and help you. What are some things that you would need help with that people could step up and help you?
The biggest thing is promotion.
Okay.
I have been silenced by the mainstream media and the deep state.
Hmm.
I can't get my word out.
Right.
It's just the environment these days. If you're promoting a website, you're looked down upon,
Right.
and so I need help just from the average everyday person. Go and say, hey, let's stopmediabiasnow.com is a legitimate website and I use it. And that would be a huge to get some warriors out there, get people to join the website, get them participating in it. The website's updated every 2 weeks. So you can come back in 2 weeks and send out another set of emails. Um, I have created what I call bulk emails. So they goes out to the 123 different sponsors, but it's in groups of approximately 10 or less bulk
Hmm.
emails.
Right.
And what we're doing is we're taking their info at bearaspirin.com email and putting it in the BCC field. So they can get a generic email. 10 companies can get a generic email rather than trying to send one at a time to each company.
Well, I
People
think
didn't
you have
have
the
time for
foundation,
that.
Steve. You have the
Mm,
foundation of something really good here, and I think you just need more help. It,
yeah.
it you know, was looking at, cursory look at, because I was on the website looking at it, and it just seems like you need a little bit more help because this is not a one-man job. This is going to take a little bit of an army,
Yes.
right?
Yes. The army comes in the digital warriors that
Correct.
that participate in the website. There's two things
I,
you can do. One is
okay.
spread the word. The other thing is go to the website and send out the emails. I think sending out the emails is more important than
Okay, but
boycotting the products.
let's go one
Hmm?
step above that, right? Let's go to your level, right? So, for instance, maybe there's a person out there who's really good at web development. They could take that off your hands. They could actually be
That
managing your
would,
website for you, right?
yeah, you can see
They're
my level of web whatever is not that great, and
correct. And
it is
that's the
limiting.
kind of thing
And
that's the kind of thing I'm looking for is like, okay,
mhm.
so, the things you're not an expert in, there are a lot of people out there
So
who are,
I could use
right?
help uh, with the website design. There are some
Hmm.
things that I'd like to add to the website that I just haven't. I don't have the technical expertise
Right.
to do. So I need a good programmer. It is a WordPress website, and I use a plugin called Divi, D-I-V-I,
Hmm.
as a
Yep.
crutch
Hmm.
so that I can
Page
make
builder.
it
Yeah.
look semi
Hmm.
good.
Yeah.
I need editors. I need
So you don't
people
need a
that can
programmer, you
help.
need a web developer, which is different. A programmer is different than a web developer. So a web developer is what you need. Someone who's proficient in WordPress and maybe use Divi. Okay, so
Mhm.
those are two things. We're gonna put a page on your website and you're gonna say what you need help with. We're just gonna make a list of it because this kind of thing is so important, right? So
Mhm.
I'm a big proponent of us taking action and sitting in the sidelines, not a good thing. So you look at Lewis as an example, right? There's a lot of
Mhm.
things Lewis is doing, but Lewis has a team behind him. He has 32, 33 people who have stepped
Wow.
up in various ways to help him.
Mhm.
So he can do 100 times what one person can do because he's got this team,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
looking to see with you is like, okay, you've got this vision, you've got the message from God that this is what you need to be doing next, and what you need is you need a hand to really break this thing open and make it bigger, stronger, faster. You've got some
Yeah.
pieces in place, and it's really nice. How do we take it to the next level? What's next? And I look at this audience, and there's so much talent in this audience that we've got. And
Mhm.
if you guys, anybody's interested in stepping up, Steve, how would they contact you? Is there a
Well,
contact page on the website?
there is a contact page on the website, and
Okay.
it's info at stopmediabiasnow.com.
Info
Um,
at stopmediabiasnow.com. If you guys are paying attention, you want to help out, you want to be part of the solution. Our digital warriors step up. Now is the time to
oh,
to do something.
so
And
awesome.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. Lewis mentioned this to me this morning when we chatted, that you're going to be part of rememberyouroath.com. We're going to start adding what you're
Wow.
doing to that. We're going to start
Well,
building it together. Yeah.
yeah. I've thought about this as well. The one weakness, the focal point is the website, and I fully expect as it becomes popular it's going to get attacked. And the data that I create on the website, I need places like your website to put it out at. They can't take
Right.
us all down.
No.
So that they
And
take
here's
one
here's
of
the
us
thing.
down, but I
What's
don't think
true,
they can
Steve,
take
if you
us all
have
down.
a WordPress person that would help you with that, help you with the security. WordPress is notorious. It's got a lot of bugs in it because so many
Mhm.
people use it, and it's open source. And they patch it every 30 days or so, but it still has challenges. Some of the apps are the plugins are not great, and some of them open holes up.
Yeah.
So you would need somebody who can do that back end stuff and add like WordFence in there to help protect it. Also, where are you hosted? Do you have the right host? Do you have a host that would take you down if they don't agree with what you say? Some hosts will do
Yeah, I'm
that.
worried about that. I've been
GoDaddy's
worried about
notorious for
that
that.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, GoDaddy's notorious for that. So people who
Yeah.
host with those kind of companies. So all of that kind of help as you grow, and certainly the attacks, the pressure will mount because the
Mhm.
more visible you become. You're going to need someone who, if the site is attacked, or I should say when it's attacked, because every website, one of my websites was attacked yesterday, and you need to be able to get in there and do the thing you need to do to stop the attack,
Yeah.
right?
Well, my
So,
first website was actually Mad as Hell Boycott was actually attacked very simply. They put me on a spam list,
mhm,
and
blacklist you. Yep.
every so I had within 2 weeks. This was before they were really shadow banning me,
Hmm.
but within 2 weeks, I had 7,500 people that that registered to the website. I
Wow.
thought I had made it. It had gone viral. Everything was, super and, away we were going, and it was just, I got on a couple of Twitter posts and a YouTube, channel that talked a lot about it. And I thought it really thought I had everything going. But then
Right.
they started doing this stuff with that I didn't understand. I'm not that sophisticated when it comes to the back end of running a website. And all my correspondence coming out of the website were captured and thrown into a spam filter,
Wow.
except except this is how devious it was, except for my test emails.
Yeah.
I had 3 test emails, and every time I sent a bulk email to everybody that, you know, I got them on those 3 sites. I did nobody else got them.
Wow.
So you can imagine going to a website, madashellboycott.com, signing up for their weekly email blasts and getting nothing. Never ever hearing from the website again. It
Yeah.
just petered out, and I spent
Well, that's why
a
you need a
year
little bit of help
over.
here. This is one of these things. It's like you need to get a little traction here and get some help in building this and having that back end secure. All
Mhm.
right. So apart from that, anything else you can think of that you would need help with?
Well, the other social media platforms, I need help in. I've got a presence on Telegram. I've got a presence on Truth. I've got a presence on Facebook and um, Getter. I just can't maintain all of those. So
Correct.
if I had people that could help me out
Okay. So
just
you
in
need somebody
promoting,
who can do social media.
yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So, put it out there. Let us know what you need, and we'll help, and we'll find
Oh,
the warriors, the digital warriors that can step up and give you assistance in that area. Because I think it's real important to be able to do that. This is our world, and if we don't step up, the media will continue to destroy it.
hmm
And oftentimes, it's really interesting because those in the media don't even know what they're doing. They're paid actors, literally, is what they are. They sit in front of the camera, the makeup's on, the lights on, and they think they're stars because they can stare in that camera and read a teleprompter.
hmm
They have no idea about the stories, no idea about the meaning, no idea about what damage they may be doing, nothing. So,
yeah.
the idea of being able to do something to kind of curb this or even stop it is brilliant.
Mhm. Well, this will work.
Yeah.
It will work. History has shown that that this type of boycott works.
Right.
And it's the boycotting of the advertisers, not the boycotting of just not watching. Just not
Right.
watching. We've been doing it for years, and it has a little impact, but it does not have the impact that we need or want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is stopping power, because if they're not funding it, if George Soros has to dip into his pocket every month or every week for $10 million for each program that he wants on the air,
Hmm.
it's gonna have an ooga factor,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it will change things. So the reason I know this is that I told this story before. Um, if you'll recall, Al Jazeera, or Al Gore's old network, I can't remember what he called it, but he sold it to the country of Qatar as and with the sole intent, Qatar wanted put on Al Jazeera with the sole intent to introduce America to Sharia law. And it was their door. It was an open door. Al
Yeah.
Gore sold them that open door. He could have sold that company to an American company that would have done some good with it, but he sold it to those guys for the sole purpose of introducing America to Sharia law. Well, a group of Florida Family Association put together a group of 30,000 people, I think, that
Wow.
started an email campaigns directed at the advertisers. They convinced 96% of the advertisers to stop advertising on the entire network.
Wow.
And after a year, even the country of Qatar could not sustain the the propaganda effort without advertisers.
Wow.
So this will work. Now, all we're talking about is a program like Bill O'Reilly's program.
Right.
Now I know that they're gonna fight and do whatever they can to keep the status quo, but we have to hold true and stick to our morals.
Yeah. It's an information war. There's no question that it's there. So
Right.
the media, and also I would include in that most of the social media as well, fits into that same
Yes.
bandwagon. Now, we've known a lot of people have pulled away from Facebook, for instance. A lot of people pulled away from Instagram. I have marketing friends who would spend tens of thousands of dollars a week on Facebook to advertise. And after they started doing the censorship campaign, they said not one more dime. And
Right.
they pulled their advertising dollars away. And it's hurting Facebook.
Mhm.
They are now number three as far as the most visited social network, and they were number one before. So it shows you that we as consumers have the ability to do this,
Yeah, we
right?
do. We do.
Yeah.
The um, Anheuser-Busch was the top beer sold um, at the Super Bowl until
Right.
this year,
Yep.
and the reason was because of Bud Light.
Yep.
Their their advertising programs through Bud Light.
Completely. Wow.
Bud Bud is suffering from that faux pas,
Yep.
and we need to make, if we can make advertising on ABC, NBC, and CBS just as destructive to their bottom line, they will move their ads. And when they move their ads, the whole playing field will change. Everything will change.
Yep.
The our the the playing field will be closer to level, because the media, one way it was described to me is that they create a headwind for all conservative causes, and it's a very difficult headwind to get in front of
Yeah.
or to fight through. And without that headwind, conservatives will win.
But
We're going to win. God wins.
Yeah, exactly. And the truth of the matter is the people, we the people, have all the power. I mean, we say this over and over again. I don't know. Well, you know what? Just stop buying these products and watch how fast things change, right? They tried to sink Mike Lindell by doing that. They sunk Bill O'Reilly, and how many others have been kicked off the air because the advertisers were boycotted, and they told them, well, you associate with them, we're not buying your product anymore, right? So we have the ability to do that. We vote with our dollar. Our vote may not count, our political vote may not count, or may count twice, or may count for somebody else. We don't know. But we can vote with our dollar. That we know will work. And that's what you're saying here is like, let's vote with our dollars. Let's go and support those companies that support us. And that's what we do. The companies that we promote here are very supportive of what we do. Right? They know what it is. It's not like a surprise. Neumi and Pet Club 24/7 and Ascent Nutrition. These guys, they're all in the same boat, and they appreciate what we do. So we amplify them, and we discard the ones that don't support us. No point, right? StopMediaBiasNow.com. Go visit the website. Appreciate it. Steve, thank you so much for being part of the show today.
Thank you, Robert. I'm so honored to be here.
You did a great job, and I know you hadn't done this before, and you really wanted to, and we're glad to have you. And we'll have you back because, like I said, you and Lewis are going to be working together with RememberYourOath.com. You're going to be putting a lot of cool things together, and I can't wait to see that.
Super. Awesome.
Super.
Thank you so much.
Super. You're very welcome. I appreciate seeing you. All right, let me come back over to this camera here. Okay. I just want to wrap up here real quickly and let you know that there's one more thing I need to talk to you about. Ascent Nutrition. We talked about it earlier, and one of the great stop the spike protein from being, once it's formed, it alleviates it. I know we're not really supposed to talk about it that way, but that's one of the things that pine needle extract is really good at. And you can get it at sbgascent.com. Also, you'll see Ascent Nutrition has a lot of great products. Now, Lance Shuttler, been a guest on this show. He will be a guest again on this show soon. He's a stickler for his products. The quality of his products is top notch, second to none. And it's really cool to work with him because his products are that good. Very surprising. Lewis loves the taste of the pine needle extract, and so do I. And people who take it, they really enjoy it. Just a dropper full in the morning is pretty much all you need. They have about 40 other products on that website as well, sbgascent.com. Go have a look. You're sure to find something that works for you, something you'd like to give a try to. All right. I want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. Love you all. And we will be back with another show. We'll be coming back. We're coming back Monday. We've got a lot of news to share by then because there's a lot going on. Thank you so much for watching.